And we'll start with scissors, and when scissors doesn't work, paper, because I guess if you've watched my videos, you'll mostly notice that I pretty much always start with scissors, and then go for paper, and then go for rock, because I just like starting with scissors, and when I tie, even if I misclick, like I don't click scissors the first time, then I'll always go for the one left of it, which is the one like mine is strong against. So scissors to paper, paper to rock, rock to scissors, and I pretty much always keep going like that. But yeah, I'm using Cloudians today because that's a deck request. This is actually quite a long duel, just over 30 minutes long. So I actually sped it up 2 times as opposed to the normal 1.5 that I do. My starting hand isn't really great for a Cloudian deck. Masked Chameleon, Cloudian, Storm Dragon are cards you want late game. Although, well, mid to late game, you don't want to start with them because you don't really have the options to play with them. You don't really want to start with Smoke Ball either. I have one Moray of Greed to get rid of Smoke Balls to sort of help with that, but nah. You don't want to start with Smoke Balls. You don't want to start with Masked Chameleon or Storm Dragon. If you start just one of like Chameleon or Storm Dragon, because at the start of the game you won't have any targets for Chameleon. If alongside Chameleon you get a Cloudian with 0 defense in your hand, then sure, you'll just play that first and then Chameleon. It can be okay. Storm Dragon, you need a Cloudian in your graveyard first before you can do anything. So, yeah, that didn't really work. So I just synchroed into Catastor so that I could use Storm Dragon later just by banishing Smoke Ball. So that's what I did. I did get Cloudian Squall, which is a great card to start with. An amazing play to start with just is Cloudian Squall. I believe it's Cloudian Altus, so I just have one of them, but it discards from the opponent's hand. And either Sanctuary in the Sky or Zeratius, which can search for Sanctuary, because the Cloudians, pretty much all of them, cannot be destroyed by battle. They are destroyed if they're in phase of defense position, so you keep them in phase of attack. And then Sanctuary in the Sky makes them not take damage, so the opponent only has card effects to get rid of them, normally. So, and there are not too many that would work on the Cloudians, because like Bottomless Trample, for example, doesn't work on them, because pretty much all of them are below 1500 attack. They have to get it from their effects to destroy spells and traps, to destroy monsters, to discard cards. And Altus can remove fog counters from anywhere on the field to discard a card from the opponent's hand. And it's not a once per turn effect either, so if you have a good amount of fog counters, then that's great. So Storm Dragon can definitely help with that, because he can just place a fog counter once per turn on anything. And here I draw into another Masked Chameleon. I'm like, come on, what is this? I want something else. Masked Chameleon is not useful right now, because like Chameleon has 1100 defense, and Smoke Ball is 600. Smoke Ball is like the only Cloudian I have that doesn't have 0 defense, so I'm like, okay, Storm Dragon. Can't play anything else. I could, I guess, summon Chameleon, and then either Synchro or Xyz, and I'm like, nah, he has Gustos, probably playing Storm Dragon now is the best option, so I just attack with Storm Dragon. It cannot be destroyed by battle, so I'm just going to see what he does. He plays Gustos, so he probably had either Priestess, Guldo, or whatever the 200 attack one is. The Birdie Tuner. Eagle. He is allowed a new special summon. He's allowed to choose something else. What I could have done, I suppose, was Evilswarm Exciton Knight, but really just for a face down monster didn't really feel right, because Gulda would have still worked, I believe, because it's just when it's sent from field to grave. And I would have destroyed my own Cloudian Skull as well. Now here my opponent comes in with a new Gusto support. They came in Primal Origin. Synchros these two into Catastor, which doesn't work because Catastor's in Wind. And I read I don't know Piraka's effect like from the top of my head, but I'm just like, okay, read the card, and it says cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Wind monsters. And Catastor is not a Wind monster; it's a Dark monster, so that didn't work out for the opponent. So the opponent puts back their monsters and now has to decide on something else. I'm like, okay, the opponent wanted to go for another Guldos, I believe it's called, but doesn't have a second one. I noticed at the beginning of the game, the opponent had 14 in the extra deck as opposed to 15, so yeah. So probably the 15th slot is going to be taken by the second Guldos, because Guldos is a good card. Now, as instead of that, the opponent decides to synchro into a card that can be one of the most annoying Gustos to deal with, which is Gusto Streves. Sure, when it's synchro summon, you can add Gusto from grave to hand, which is definitely helpful for the opponent, but it's the other one. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and while Streves is face up, battle damage my opponent, like the player of Streves, would take, which involves one of their Gusto monsters, is dealt to me instead. So I can bring out this huge monster, then the opponent won't take any damage. I will. Here I have a couple of options. There's now a fog counter on each of these monsters and 2 on my thing. Like, I have a couple of options. I can summon Chameleon and either synchro or Exceed into something. I can tribute summon Nimbus Man, then summon Storm Dragon by banishing Storm Dragon. I want to take out Freeze. That's my goal right now. His defense monster only gets the effect when destroyed by battle. I realized that, and I'm okay. What to do? I was thinking here, use Storm Dragon's effect on the defense monster, tribute summon Nimbus Man, and then attack Freeze. And then I realized in a moment Freeze cannot be destroyed by battle, so that's not a way to go. So I summon Chameleon, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to summon number 101 Silent on an Arc, because I can just take Freeze for myself, for Exceed material, and then just attack. But then I'm like, wait. Then he still has his face down card. He still gets his monster's effect. Sure, I won't be destroyed once, but here I realized, wait a minute, Excite on Knight. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards total. The opponent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Excite on Knight wins that. And with the opponent get into battle phase with Excite on still in the field, I can use the effect again. So this is actually one of the first times I'm actually using Excite on Knight. I've had it in many decks, but I haven't really been able to pull it off much. Probably because I haven't dueled much. So I detached Storm Dragon just in case I get my 3rd Mass Chameleon, so I can actually use it with that. Excite's effect goes off. Why the opponent didn't use Blessings for Gusto, I don't know, because he would have gotten a free special summon. Although the special summon monster would have been destroyed anyway, but he would have gained 2 months in the deck, I guess, but that might have not been that advantageous, so maybe it's good the opponent didn't do that. The opponent doesn't take any battle damage for the rest of the turn. If they would have, I would have summoned Storm Dragon via its effect. I didn't. Now the opponent summons Lineage of Gusto, comes in with Guldo, I think it's called. I forget these names, I haven't played against Guldos much lately. And comes in with another Freeze, which means, once again, a Gusto from grave to hand to help with some card advantage. So Paraka comes back once again. Freeze cannot be destroyed by battle. I'm like, it's going to attack me, but Exciton can also be used in the opponent's battle phase, so I do that. Freeze is gone. Now, this looks pretty good for me. And I'm like, okay, do I play Smoke Ball, just attack with Exciton, and then summon Nimbus Man next turn? Do I summon Storm Dragon now, use the effect on Exciton, and then summon Nimbus Man, or what do I do? I decided to just push, because if the opponent somehow has a card that destroys all of my monsters, I can't use Nimbus Man anyway. I'm like, might as well do it now. So, summon Storm Dragon. I'm like, do I set Smoke Ball, just attack with Storm Dragon? I could also do that, but once again, I decided to go with Nimbus Man. I do first use Storm Dragon's effect on Exciton Knight to place a fog counter on it, because Nimbus Man gains 500 attack for every fog counter on the field, and by tributing Storm Dragon, Nimbus Man itself gains a fog counter as well, so it's 2,000 attack there, 1,900 attack for Exciton Knight, so that's looking pretty good, 3,900 damage, and Nimbus Man cannot be destroyed by battle. And maybe in the future, through some like Cloudian monsters that I would get more fog counters. This thing is with a good amount of the basic Cloudian monsters. When they're normal summon, they gain a fog counter for every Cloudian on the field. So that would be Nimbus Man and that monster itself, so 2. Some of them require 2 fog counters for their own effects, some of them 3, some of them 1. Some of them, like Altus, can take from anywhere on the field, so also from the opponent's monsters and my non-Cloudians. So that's great. I didn't draw into Altus or whatever. I didn't draw into like the Cloudians that I want to start the game with. I really didn't start well. And here my opponent goes with Miracle Synchro Fuse, and I'm like, what? Gustos have that thing? But I'm like, wait, no, that's not a Gusto specific. Good amount of the Gustos are Psychic. Axon Kicker. And I remember I really like Axon Kicker. It has two great combiner. It has piercing effect, and it has a if you destroy an opponent's monster by battle, you gain life points equal to its attack. And then the Sage thing negated Nimbus Man's effect, so it's at 1,000 attack and it can be destroyed by battle. Hero take another 1,000 damage. Opponent gains 1,900. Doesn't look good for me. I need something really good to draw. So, what do I have to stop it? I have compulsory evacuation device to take out Axon Kicker because it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, like, compulse is like one of the few things that I can really use. I have to be afraid. I have to be wary of its piercing effect and the fact that if it destroys something in battle, they gain life points. Here I'm like, none of these are useful. None of these cards are useful. I would have liked Masked Chameleon so that I could have used that to summon to summon Storm Dragon and then sync around to Angel of Zera, because they do have like two banished fairies now, Smoke Ball and a Storm Dragon. So I would have been stronger than Axon Kicker, which would have been great, but no. I just set Smoke Ball, and once my opponent attacks, I'm like, dang it. Piercing effect, he's going to take damage. He'll gain 200 life points, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to take 2,300. If I would have set Turbulence, there's not like if it's set, it's face down, its effect is inactive. The opponent will very likely attack into it with Axon Kicker due to its piercing effect and the life point gaining effect. But once it's face up, even during the damage step, its continuous effect will apply and destroy itself. Though the opponent will never have destroyed Turbulence by battle, it'll be by Turbulence's own card effect. So the opponent won't deal damage to me and won't gain life points. So I'm like, why didn't I play Turbulence? Didn't think of it enough, and yeah, I could have summoned Turbulence, done summon the smoke ball, but I couldn't have done anything with that anyway. So here I'm in trouble. I'm kind of at 600 attack. I need to do something now. So yeah, I need a good draw. The opponent has 3 good monsters, Axon Kicker especially. I have Compulse, that is great. I want Compulse to get rid of Axon Kicker. I can't do anything with Turbulence in attack. I can summon it in attack, remove the fog counters, Smoke Ball in defense, destroy Guldos, but then still Sage will be able to just attack Turbulence to finish it off. So that wouldn't work. So here I'm just hoping he doesn't summon anything else. He actually switches Sage to defense to avoid Mirror Force, to still have something left. But that actually allows me to survive for the turn, which is great. Now he attacks with Guldo, whatever, I forget these names, the little 500 attack birdie. He attacks with Birdie, and I'm like, okay, I live to see another day. I do believe he Synchro summons now, so he's gonna have 2 great monsters. Here comes the level 7 Gusto Synchro. Gusto, I forget their names. What's this one called? Eagles. Yeah, it's Guldo into Guldos and Eagle into Eagles. Yeah, effect goes off trying to destroy Compulse, but I'm like, nope, getting rid of Axon Kicker. Now, once again, I want Masked Chameleon. I already have 2 in the grave. I have 3 total in the deck, considering maybe 2, but 3 feels good if I start with the Cloudian Slitzer events that are not called Storm Dragon. Didn't get them. So it wasn't a great start for me, so I'm like, need Storm Dragon. Need it. Need Storm Dragon. Let's get it. The narration seems to have frozen the video. I don't know what's going on. If the video's still playing, I don't have a clue what's going on. It's frozen for me. I'm pretty sure the narration's still working. It's gonna keep narrating. It's just showing a couple of screens for me. I hope this is still gonna work out. Anyway, I need a miracle draw here. Masked Chameleon is the only one I can think of that can do anything. I get Fiendish Chain, so I'll just hope he doesn't summon anything else and I'll just stop his attack. Now what he does though is he summons Eagle, switches Eagles to defense position. I'm like, yeah, I have to use Fiendish Chain now to stop Eagle's attack, but how often do you get it that you have to stop a 200 attack monster from finishing off with Fiendish Chain when he has such a big monster on the field? But I had to, otherwise I wouldn't lose. I would have lost. So I'm like, okay, I need Masked Chameleon. I need Masked Chameleon. So I'm like, Miracle Draw Numbers. I get Bottomless Trample if he just summons anything, so just anything to attack, but he's not going to fall for the fact that I don't have Mirror Force this time. Um, Pretty sure he summons an extra monster, even puts Eagles in attack position, with the risk that it's Mirror Force this time. Would have been great if I got my second Mirror Force here, but no. That was Duel. Alright, welcome to the deck profile for this deck request for Cloudians. It seems that in the previous part of the video when I was talking about the lag, like the screen was doing weird. The video seems to be fine, it's just that the narration is a bit behind, like it's starting from where like I notice it. But that shouldn't be a problem in the total video when I upload it. I forgot to mention who this request is by, MrZDude26. I'm guessing it's 26 and not Z6. I just didn't write it down properly, so I'm gonna assume it's MrZDude26. Like, when I finished the previous request, or just marking a guide, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna build a Cloudian deck now. But then I went through my deck list and I noticed I already had a Cloudian deck. I'm like, what? I don't remember having it. Yet it has some pretty new cards, like Mass Chameleon and Angela Zera. I'm like, wait. Those cards... Huh. Those are not that new anymore, but they're pretty new. So probably I made this Cloudian deck like just after like Zera and Chameleon were revealed, like were released on the end. Like since then I took out Utopia and Maestro for some others. Like I did some minor edits to the extra deck because there will like Legacy of the Valiant, Primal Origin. They wouldn't have been revealed or released yet at the time. So I looked through some of those cards and put them in extra deck. Like if you have any ideas of like Valiant cards or Primal Origin cards or something before that would work right in the deck, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can make of it. But into the deck, we have one Cloudian Acid Cloud. As with most of the Cloudians, cannot be destroyed by battle, and if it's in face-up defense position, it's destroyed. That's, by the way, a continuous effect. It doesn't start a chain. Now, when Acid Cloud's normal summoned, you place a fog counter on it for each Cloudian monster on the field. Same with Stratus and Altus. But Acid Cloud can remove 2 fog counters from itself to destroy 1 spell or trap card. Not a once per turn effect, so if you have like 4 or more fog counters, you can use it twice. Altus, as I said, needs 3 fog counters to activate its effects, but can get them from anywhere on the field. So also other monsters like you control or monsters the opponent controls, and then it discards a card from the opponent's hand. So if you get Altus on the field with Squall already active, or even 2, and like 1 or 2 other Cloudians, Altus will get a lot of fog counters and will be able to just like discard most of the opponent's hand. It can be a really great card and can win you games through that. I have 3 copies of Cloudian Kirostratus, I don't know how to pronounce it. And for some reason in Deck Constructor it's always really slow for me like to load the card on the left. I don't know why. I don't know what's up with that. But Kirostratus, just like Acid Cloud, needs 2 fog counters removed from itself to activate the effect, but Kirostratus destroys monsters on the field, as opposed to Acid Cloud destroying spells and traps. So Cloudian destroys monsters. 1 copy of Nimbus Man, because I did feel Nimbus Man will be a helpful card to use. It's a level 5, so you can pretty much tribute anything for it. But more specifically, you have to look at water monsters. You can tribute any number of water monsters for the tribute of some of this card. Usually I just tribute summon 1, but like I'll get later into Sheep Cloud. Sheep Cloud can summon tokens, and Nimbus Man can distribute all of those tokens. When it's tribute summoned, Nimbus Man gains a fog counter for every water monster tributed, and Nimbus Man also gains 500 attack for every fog counter on the field. So probably you'll tribute 1 water monster, so that's 1500. If you have Cloudian Squall on the field, probably some other cards have counters as well. Storm Dragon could help add a counter. Things like that. Nimbus Man likes counters on the field. So Nimbus Man and Altus are the 2 cards that make use of fog counters being on the opponent's cards. Now I have Sheep Cloud. It's not a great card, but I felt it could be useful. When it's destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you special summon 2 Cloudian tokens in defense position. These tokens cannot be tributed for a tribute summon unless it's for a Cloudian monster, which in my deck is only Nimbus Man. I felt it would be good, sort of a nice defense. It is a level 1 with 0 defense, so in that case it can be used with Chameleon, summon Sheep Cloud, go into Catastor. Like otherwise it would be Smoke Ball, which is already on the field, plus Chameleon. But Sheep Cloud could work, and the tokens for it could work for Nimbus Man. So, like this would be one of the first cards I'd consider taking out. 2 Smoke Ball, they're in there for Turbulence, so we'll get into the Smoke Balls when we get to Turbulence, because on its own, Smoke Balls is this stupid level 1, no stupid, little cute, not so strong, 200 attack, 600 defense, level 1, doesn't do much. Storm Dragon, considering taking this down maybe to 2, although it does really well, you just don't want to start with it. And if you do start with it, you don't start with like Mass Chameleon, and like, you want to start with one of these 5, really. Or these, really. Yeah. You want to start with Turbulence, Skirstratus, Altus, Acid Cloud, preferably 2 or 3 of them. And then like either Sanctuary, Radius, and like get a Squall, and then 1 like Phoenix Chain. That would be a great start. And then later on you draw into not more Storm Dragons and Chameleons to keep combos going. But yeah. Storm Dragon can be nice. 1000 attack on its own, so it's not that strong, and it's summoned by banishing a Cloudian from the grave. Once per turn you can place a fog counter on 1 monster in the field. You can place it on itself, you can place it on like another of your own monsters like it did in the game, so I can then tribute Storm Dragon for Nimbus Man, so Nimbus Man still gains the 500 attack from the fog counter Storm Dragon placed. You can place it on an opponent's monster to do something, whatever you feel appropriate. And if you have a couple of Cloudians in the grave, and I do have 15 Cloudians in this deck, so it'll happen quite often, then you may be able to summon 2 Storm Dragons in 1 turn to help for an Xyz summon. And Storm Dragon with a 0 defense in level 4 does help with Chameleon to allow for either a level 8 Synchro or rank 4 Xyz. 3 copies of Cloudian Turbulence. When it's normal summon, you place a fog counter on for each Cloudian monster on the field, as with most of the other basics like Altus and Skirstratus. You can remove 1 fog counter from this card to special summon a Cloudian Smoke Ball from your deck or from either player's grave. Now, if you have them in your deck, play them from your deck because that thins out your deck because you don't want to draw into them. It's a nice little extra you can get for extra defense or for a tribute for Nimbus Man. And with extra Cloudians on the field, you could just also keep them on the field, so that like next turn when you summon Altus, you'd have Turbulence and 2 Smoke Balls, plus Altus makes 4 fog counters for at least 1 effect for Altus, and if there's Cloudian Squall or like other fog counters and opponent's monster already on the field, you can even use them more. And otherwise now you have Slacker Magician and Ghost Trick Dueling to use for it. You can use those with Xyzing the 2 Smoke Balls together. Effect Veiler can, I guess, also be used with the Smoke Balls for an Xyz, but you don't really do that. You use them for Xyzing. Usually it's Veiler plus 1 of the level 4 Cloudians for Catastor, but it can also be Mass Chameleon, Smoke Ball, or Sheep Cloud. Veiler's also there to negate effects. It really depends on the situation you're in, what you want to use it for. Mass Chameleon, as explained before, uses with a level 0, the 0 defense Cloudian, so Storm Dragon, Turbulence, Sheep Cloud, Skirstratus, Altus, Acid Cloud. As you can see, quite a lot of targets. I just didn't have a lot of them. Effect Veiler, it can summon Effect Veiler, but then it can't either Synchro or Xyz with them because they're both tuners. 2 copies of Zeratia's Herald of Heaven, because I wanted Sanctuary in the Sky, because Cloudian's effect plus Sanctuary in the Sky is good. I didn't want to put 3 Sanctuary in there, I felt like, but then again, I did want it quickly and I wanted it a lot, so I'm like, Searcher, Terraforming, wait, Sanctuary has a Searcher. So Zeratia's Herald of Heaven, you can discard it to add Sanctuary to your hand, and if you already have a Sanctuary in the field, you can just summon Zeratia's either for attacking or for Xyzing, or maybe would you happen to have a Mass Chameleon hanging out on the field, you can synchro with it. So that's nice. 3 Cloudian Squalls. During each of your standby phases, put 1 fog counter on every face-up monster. I have 3 because they can be really good. As I said, they're only really used for Altus and Nimbus Man, so making use of 3 Squalls, you may actually want to use 2 or 3 Altus. So I may like take out a Turbulence because it really only summons Smoke Balls. Although it can like re-summon Smoke Balls due to it only also being summonable from the grave. You could take out like a Turbulence for Altus and add more Altus. Because I'd say Altus is more useful than Nimbus Man, although Nimbus Man can be super powerful, also with Sanctuary in the field. But Squall really helps the two of them become either really strong or make the opponent lose loads of cards. Squall's good. Moray of Greed just to help with like claggy hands and cards you don't want. I would have liked to have Moray of Greed at the start of the game, so I would have just gotten rid of like, the two Storm Dragons and like the one other Cloudian that I would have had to hopefully draw into something else that I did want. Because, as I said, the starting hand isn't great. And Moray of Greed is sort of also there to help with Smoke Ball. If you draw into Smoke Ball, you can just put them back with Moray of Greed because you don't want to draw into them. 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, basic things. Potter Duality, I sometimes special summon, not too much, so Duality is nice as a searcher. 2 Sanctuary, nice combined with the 2 Zeradias. And then as a trap lineup, Bottomless Trample, Compulse, 2 Phoenix Chain, and 2 Mirror Force. So the extra deck, I have 1 Catastor as the 1 level 5 Synchro, because you don't go into level 5 Synchros that often, but Catastor is a great one. I just thought of Armades being another great level 5 Synchro, so that's one you could consider using. As for the level 8 synchros, I have Stardust, I have Scrap Dragon, I have Angel Azira, I have Crimson Blader. Angel Azira, I at first didn't really see much of use, but you do banish things for Storm Dragon to give it a little extra effect. And Zira can be nice. It's also a fairy, so it works with Sanctuary, although not too often that you'll take it down by battle. But, you know, it would have helped me get over Axon Kicker would I have drawn into Masked Chameleon in that game. So, and Crimson Blader is just good. I have 2 rank 1s to choose from: Slacker Magician for defense, or Dueling to lower the opponent's power, so you can get over it. I'm trying out number 52 Diamond Crab King. Haven't actually summoned it in a few games that I've had with this deck since I got back to it, but I'm like playing it over Gemini Pearl because this thing can get to 3,000 attack. It's just annoying when like Effect Vader would come in like at the end of the battle phase after you already have it in attack. So that's the danger. Effect Vader or Phoenix Chain, really. Like as soon as the opponent doesn't have one of those two, this card is probably better than Pearl, because afterwards it just switches back to defense and gains its defense back. Gaga Cowboy, I don't use it too often. Like people use it for like the final things, like the final 800. But then, why do you not use Okazi, Poison of the Old Man? But then, like, you have to draw into that, and this one, you can always use it as long as you have 2 level 4s to play with. And it can take out, like, a strong monster with its first effect, would it be necessary. Excite Knight, just because it's a good card. Fairy Cheer Girl, I don't use it too often, but it needs level 2, level 4 fairies, and that's what the Cloudians are, they're fairies. So, if you really want some extra cards, you can take, like, overlay 2 of the Cloudians to get Fairy Cheer Girl. Do note that with 2 less Cloudians on the field, you will gain less fog counters, but it may be necessary, so that's why it's there. Diamond Direwolf, it's not a Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast deck, so this is a Kamikaze Diamond Direwolf, but can be useful in some cases. Wouldn't have worked on Axon Kicker, but works in many other cases. Silent Iron Arc, I just really like the card. Replace Maestroke with it. Maestroke is still a good card, but I just prefer Silent Iron Arc because, as opposed to maybe being able to beat an opponent's monster, since most of the big monsters are special summoned anyway, Silent Iron Arc, just get rid of them. Black Ship of Corn, I haven't used this much either. I still find it more useful than Photon Papi Operative, but I have barely used Black Ship of Corn in any of my decks lately, so this is probably one of the first that I take out. And then finally I have King of the Feral Imps. Would I feel like I have good targets for Masked Chameleon, I can just search for another one. I won't use it too often in this deck, probably. Like, I won't Xyz too often in this deck, except for, like, Excite on Night and 101, I would guess. But King of the Feral Imps, go for Masked Chameleon to either allow for another Xyz next turn or a Synchro that you want. Can be useful. Side deck cards I've considered are 2 Breakthrough Skill. I believe this was during the time that I was like Breakthrough Skill Phoenix Chain, which is the better one. I guess I'm still going for Phoenix Chain because it stops attacking for now. Armades is another option for level 5 Synchro you could use. I originally had Maestroke and Utopia in this deck when I got back to the deck, took it out for Crab King and 101 to try them out. Pretty sure Dullahan I also put in to take something out. I don't know what. I think it was like its second slacker or something, I don't know. Number 82, Heartland Draco. There's one deck I actually have this in. Haven't used it yet, but I can see it's used. Only 2. It's a generic level 4, rank 4. It needs 2 level 4 monsters, 2,000 attack. But if I control a face-up spell, and the opponent cannot target Heartland Draco for an attack, so that's nice. And once per turn, you can detach and exchange material from the card, making other monsters unable to attack, but Heartland Draco can attack directly, which is until the end phase. And face-up spells I would have are my field spells Sanctuary in the Sky and my continuous spells Cloudian Skull. So you could consider Heartland Draco as a card to use. Alright, that was the Cloudian deck profile from me. I hope you, MrZDude26, I hope you like it. Try it out, let me know what you think. Everyone else, like, if you want to try it out, go ahead. Let me know of some other cards that you think could work in this duel, and then I'm gonna go for the next deck request and hopefully see you soon with that one. See you later.